Hey everybody, this is Chef Julio of Echale Porras Productions, and today we're going to be making one of my favorite recipes, Chipotle Mac and Cheese. So to start off, we of course need our pasta. My favorite pasta to use for mac and cheese, even though it's not macaroni, I like to use shell pasta medium. And we actually have a pot of water already boiling for our pasta, so let's get that in there. While we have our pasta boiling, let's go over what we need for the dish. Obviously, mac and cheese, you need your cheeses. Right here we have Colby Jack cheese, pepper jack cheese, and for added creaminess and the end product, I like to use some cream cheese. For our roux that we're gonna also be blending up here in the blender, we have 2.5 large cubes of chicken bouillon. If you have only the small cubes, you would use 5. If you don't have chicken bouillon cubes, but you do have powdered chicken stock, or caldo as we call it, you would just use 5 teaspoons of this, because every teaspoon prepared is 1 cup of chicken stock. To continue for our roux, we have 5 cloves of garlic that we are gonna roughly chop. We have a teaspoon each of paprika, chili powder, some basil, and black pepper. A tablespoon of chopped onion, a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, a quart of half and half, and our main star, chipotles and adobo sauce. Alright, so let's get these garlics chopped. They don't need to be super fine, super nice. They're going to be blended anyways. Let's start off with making our chipotle mixture that we're gonna be simmering down in the pot in a bit. First, we're gonna use half of the half and half, so about 2 cups. Next, let's add our bouillon cubes, just straight in there. They're gonna blend down anyways. Our chopped onion, in. Spice mixture, in. Our roughly chopped garlic, in. And last, but certainly not least, our chipotles and adobo. This is about 1 can or 7 ounces. Then you're just gonna wanna give this a mix. Now that we got this all mixed up, we can take it over to the pot, put it in, get it boiling. Notice that I didn't put any salt in this mixture. The cheese is very salty. Once we get all of it mixed up, then we can see if we need to add some extra salt. But salt, we're gonna wait until the end. We're gonna put what we just blended into the pot. The rest of our half and half in. And we're gonna be putting in our cornstarch, which I mix with water so we wouldn't get any lumps. Then we just let this come up to a boil, stirring constantly. While this is coming up to temp, we're gonna set the oven to 350. Once that's nice and boiling, we're gonna take it off the heat. All right, once our mixture is boiled and off the heat, this is when we're gonna start adding the cheeses. So I'm gonna add a couple blocks at a time. I'm not gonna add too much because we don't want the temperature of the mixture to go too down. We just want it to keep on melting, keep on stirring, and make sure to incorporate that cheese nice and well in there. Just keep going. Now that that's all nice and mixed in, all the cheese is melted through, we're gonna start adding back the pasta. Once that's done, we're gonna get them into our baking dishes. Now that we got all the mac and cheese in the containers. We're gonna get them in the oven, bake them off for about 30 minutes. Remember, the oven's at 350, and these things are just gonna look gorgeous when they come out. It's been about 30 minutes. Let's get them out. And there we have it, Chipotle Mac and Cheese. You know I gotta try this. Ooh, nice and hot. Good, good, good. Of course, I made it, so I love it. But you want to give it a try?
Sure.
All right. This is Moneybags. He's behind the camera. If the camera sucks, then it's on him. Go ahead.
Let's try this spaghetti.
Some spaghetti.
Hot.
What you think?
It's really good. Has a nice cheesy taste.
Well, there we go. First video, Echale Porras Productions, Chipotle Mac and Cheese. Thank you to anyone watching this. If you like it, please give us a like. If you want to see what we come up with next, be sure to subscribe. And if you have any ideas for what else we can cook, leave them down in the comments below. Thank you. Boom, you looking for this? Hey everybody, this is Chef Julio of Echale Porras Productions, and today we're going to be making my take on shrimp ceviche. The process to make shrimp ceviche is not too difficult. It's just a lot of dicing up of your veggies, getting some citrus from the lemon and lime, your seasonings. We're going to start off with listing off our ingredients. What we have first, alright, here we have 1.5 pounds of already peeled and deveined shrimp. Onto our veggies, we have 1 cucumber, a large one, 3 limes, 2 serrano peppers and a jalapeno, 3 large tomatoes, 1 medium yellow onion, a large avocado. If you want to put more, go ahead, and 1 lemon, and 1 bushel of cilantro. And for seasonings today, we're gonna go super simple. We have 1.5 teaspoons of garlic salt and 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red chili flakes. That's completely optional. If you wanna leave that out, you can. So at the beginning, I did say I was doing my take on shrimp ceviche, which is a non-traditional take, as I'm going to be actually cooking the shrimp because I like the texture a bit more once it's cooked, and then we're going to dice it a bit so you get an even amount of ingredients on every bite. We have our medium saucepan over medium lowish heat. We don't want to get these too burned, too scorched. We just want that nice pink color we get when you cook shrimp. So we're gonna let that go for about 3-4 minutes until we get some nice color. All right, once those are nice and pink, we'll turn off the heat and we'll get them cooling. Here we have our bushel of cilantro. Most people cut off the stems, throw them away, and just keep the leafy part, but we're gonna keep all of it because the stems have a lot of that flavor that we're looking for. All right, so let's do it. Chopping super fast. That sucks. We're just gonna skip that part.
I started laughing on the camera, started speaking.
And there you have it, our cilantro all nice and chopped up. We're gonna put it in the bowl and we're gonna continue on. Next, we're gonna get our onion nice and diced up. Easy way to chop these is you take off this little part right here, lay it flat, cut straight through the root. You have 2 halves. What you want to do with this onion is you want to give it about 3 knife cuts horizontally. You want to go all the way right until you break skin on the other side, and then we're going to go vertical cuts, and that's going to give us a really nice easy dice. Now that you got those cuts in, simple. Boom. Diced onion. Next, let's do our cucumber. What I do is I just take off the round sides because they don't really go with the presentation I'm going for here. Cut them into rounds first. And once they're all rounded, get a couple at a time. I probably go 3 or 4. Half it, half it, half it. Then you're gonna turn it this way and go 1, 2. You should get nice cubes. Let's get our tomatoes done. I just like to chop them in half and get slices out of them. Efficiency is key. Or as Pooh says, efficiency. Alright, let's get our peppers nice and chopped up. This, I would say, is an optional step. If you don't want that much heat, you can skip the peppers, but I just like the flavor they add. We're gonna cut this jalapeno in half. Half it again. Half it again. You can take out the seeds if you want. I don't. We're gonna take this and just chop into small pieces. Alright, and once your peppers are diced nice and fine to whatever consistency you want them, we can move on. Next, we got our avocado. You want to get your knife straight through the middle till you hit the seed, and just follow that seed, twist it, and boom. Look at that avocado. It's beautiful. An easy way to get a nice diced avocado is just to cut it in the flesh, scoop it out with the spoon, and you should be fine. There's one way. There you go. You got a diced avocado. Now we're just gonna take a spoon and we're gonna scoop it in. Who doesn't like big pieces of avocado? Alright, last we're just gonna cut up our lemons and our limes. Now we can go about hand squeezing these into our mixture, but we have our little friend here.
Is that in the background?
We get our spice mixture from earlier and just pour it in. Now we're just gonna get all this and we're just gonna mix it all together. Looks good even without the shrimp in it yet. This is the time that you'll get it, you'll taste it, add some more citrus, some more salt if needed, but really at this point it's up to you. All right, our shrimp has been fully cooled. Our shrimp is fully cooled and we're ready to dice it up. So what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna try and dice it up to the same size as we have our veggies in it. So today I cut them a little thick, so all I'm really gonna do is cut it in half and half again. And that should be a good size, nice little piece. All right, and we're getting the last ones chopped up. And once these are done, we can put it in a bowl, toss it all together. In they go. And we mix. And now we plate. And there we have it. Non-traditional shrimp ceviche. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Let's try it out. Sure I don't have cilantro on my teeth. You get a nice mix of everything. Nothing's too overpowering. The shrimp, when done in the traditional way, is a little too squishy for my taste, so this is just Thank you once again to all those who are watching. If you like it, please be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the little bell next to it to get notifications. If you have any ideas of what we can make next, be sure to leave them down in the comments. Have a good one. Hey everyone, this is Julio of Echale Porras Productions, and today's Thanksgiving, so we're just going to be going through a whole bunch of Thanksgiving dishes, starting with our turkey. First of all, when you get your turkey, make sure you take all the stuff out of its cavity before you start, dressing it, seasoning it, basting it, or throwing it straight in the oven. Usually they have the neck out. You want to get that out. Look at that. A gravy mix that you can make gravy with. You want to take out this little plastic piece, which is usually what you use to grab and pull the turkey. Oops. And this little thermometer thingy, which if you have a good instant read, you don't need that anyways. What we're going to be doing with this bird is we're going to be spatchcocking it, because it's the morning of Thanksgiving. We didn't have 2 or 3 days to cook this, so this will be a nice quick way to get your turkey cooked. Ooh, what you want to do is you want to get your bird and you want to cut out the backbone, which I've already started here because we decided to start recording after I started cutting. So what you want to have on hand is a sharp knife. If you don't have a sharp knife, go sharpen it with one of these things or the bottom of the bowl or whatever you got, because if you try to do this with a dull knife, it ain't gonna work. Or if you have a nice pair of kitchen shears, use those. What you just want to do is go along the backbone, cutting out the little rib areas. And if you're a little squeamish, maybe this part ain't for you, I got this. Once you got it down here, take out the fat, and there is your backbone. Look at that. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your knife and you're going to make an incision right here, so it's going to be a lot easier when we go and try to break this thing. So you want to use some muscle and crack that down. What the ultimate goal here is for everything to lay kind of flat, so everything cooks evenly, and it cooks a lot faster this way. So once you have it all nice and open, you can take out some of these sharp bits. There you go. And you just want to mop up some of this excess liquid that was here, especially if you were just turbo defrosting it in water. You definitely want to make sure the bird is nice and dry before you do any kind of cooking if you want any sort of crispy skin. Breathe! Once you got this bird as dry as you can, we're going to start with our rub, which we're going to let it brine in for a couple hours before we throw it in the oven. We have 2 tablespoons of garlic salt, a teaspoon each of crushed red pepper, paprika, rosemary, basil, and parsley. Before we get to our spices, we're gonna loosen up this skin contact between the breast meat and the skin, because we also want to get some of our rub in there. So what you want to do is you want to pull this skin back and just run your fingers between these 2 areas, and the skin should pull back nice and gently, and then you'll be able to get full coverage in there. You want to get your hands under here. Just be gentle with it. It may have a bit of resistance at first. The skin nice and loosened up. You want it to be kind of like a saggy grandma after you're done with it. We're gonna do the same with the thighs. So you just want to run your fingers in there, and once you have the skin loosened up, you should be able to just push it out, and from there you'll be able to season the meat. super easily. You just put the rub and you bring the skin back. Let's get this thing nice and seasoned. And you want to be kind of liberal with the seasonings. It is a rub. Nice and seasoned as well. But this is going to help our chicken break down. If you don't have enough, you can always make more. But this is going to help our turkey meat start to break down, especially the ones inside. And while you're here, you're going to want to shape your turkey, because how you shape it here is how it's going to cook, and how it's going to cook is how it's going to come out looking. So you want to take these wing tips. You don't want them flopping around because then they will burn. But you're going to want to take this wing tip and tuck it under. Wing tip, tuck it under. Your legs, your thighs. You want to make that clear distinction between the breast and the thighs, because after this is cooked, all you need to cut through here is some skin and some cartilage, and it'll come off really easily. So, just so you guys know, it is Thanksgiving. This isn't a step-by-step recipe just like with the Chipotle Mac and Cheese or my other recipes, but this is just kind of a hodgepodge showing you everything that I make and kind of some of the process and how it's going to turn out. If you want step-by-step videos, put that down in the comments and I'll get around to doing it. In addition to the turkey, we also have a ham that most of us don't really like the super sweet glaze, so I made a chipotle glaze. This is just some chipotle, garlic, cilantro, and a bit of seasonings thrown together, blend it all together, and we're gonna baste it around our ham. So in addition to the turkey and the ham, we're gonna have a total of 3 side dishes. The first, of course, is gonna be mashed potatoes. So I already have the potatoes on the stovetop boiling. We're gonna get those off when they're hot, when they're nice and tender, and then we're gonna mash them down. Our second main side dish we're gonna have is clam chowder. I love making it. Maybe it's not traditionally Thanksgiving, but it really goes along well. So for that we have 2 10-ounce cans of. For that we have 2 10-ounce cans. For that we have 10. For that we have 2 10-ounce cans of clams. You want to separate the clams from the juice because the juice is going to go first. In addition to the clams and their juice, we're going to be using a cup of heavy cream, some butter, a nice amount of onions and celery. We're going to be making a roux with that. We're going to be putting in the heavy cream, the sauce, some bay leaves, and some more spices. Our last side dish is going to be a green bean casserole. Here we have a bunch of green beans cut up. We're going to put that in a base of cream of mushroom along with 2 cups of heavy cream. We're going to season the cream of mushroom mixture a bit. We're going to put our green beans in, and then we're going to top it with some french fried onions. So it's right about time to get our turkey in the oven. So what we're going to do is I made a seasoned butter, has some of the chipotle mixture that we put on the ham, basil, thyme, rosemary, seasonings, and of course butter. So we're going to get that all over this turkey and all inside this turkey. So we got our turkey buttered up and we got our ham covered in our chipotle mixture. The oven set at 350. We're going to put both of these in there. We're going to temp the breast after the hour. We want to pull them out at about 160 because we're going to take it out, let it rest covered in some foil, and that should take up the temperature right to 165, which is right where you want turkey. Let's get them in the oven. Alright, we have one of our 3 side dishes done. Here we got the mashed taters. Also ready for the oven is our green bean casserole. Here we have the cream of mushroom mixed with 2 cups of heavy cream. Get the green beans mixed in there after they've been blanched a bit. Then you get the crispy fried onions and you're ready to go. We also have our clam chowder mix. So what we did is we started cooking down the onion and celery in butter. I rendered down some bacon and also used that bacon fat in here, put some flour in it. After that, we put 1.5 cups of heavy cream, 2 cups of chicken stock, the clam juice, and some bay leaves. We're also going to check on the turkey and the ham. We want the turkey breast to come up to 160. We'll pull it and then it'll rise up to 165. And for the ham, we're looking at a temperature of about 145. Are we ready?
I got that.
And there we have it. Thanksgiving dinner. Here we have our turkey garlic butter, taken off at 160. We let it rest for a bit and it climbed up to 165. We spatchcocked it, so it took about an hour 45, almost 2. But that's a lot quicker than what you're gonna get with traditional roast. Here we have our string bean casserole. Here we have our Chipotle garlic lime glazed ham. Bill's favorite, the one behind the camera, buttery mashed potatoes. And our clam chowder that has some bacon in it. And for dessert, even though she didn't want to record her process because she was in PJs the whole time, we have some pumpkin cupcakes with cheese. We have pumpkin cupcakes with cream cheese frosting. This has been Thanksgiving dinner by Echale Porras Productions. Have a great holidays. Boom! Okay. Hey everybody, this is Fulio of Echale Porras Productions, and today we're going to be learning how to make my take on New England clam chowder. Let's start off by going over our ingredients. For our veggies, we're going to be using about 2 pounds of potatoes, 2 stalks of celery, and 1 medium onion that we're going to dice up. If you want to put more veggies, that's totally up to you. Next, we have 2 cups of chicken stock, a cup of heavy cream. We're going to have 3 tablespoons of flour, a tablespoon and a half about of garlic salt, 3 teaspoons of pepper, and a half teaspoon of smoked paprika, 2 bay leaves. What would your clam chowder be without can? What would your clam chowder be without clams? We're gonna be using about 10 ounces of clams, juice, and the clams separated. In addition to that, we're going to be adding some bacon, which I put in the freezer so it could firm up a bit so we can slice it thinner. Let's get that ready. Bacon. Next, let's get our celery done. What I do is I just take the stalk and I cut it down the middle. Once you have those pieces, you can dice it as thin or thick as you want it. Next, let's do our onion. Just like for the ceviche, we're going to be dicing it. So we're going to give it about 3 horizontal knife cuts, and then we're going to go vertical, 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 and then we're gonna be dicing it. Next, let's get our potatoes diced up. You just want to cut these first into rounds, then get about 3 at a time. Cut them into thirds, cut them into thirds again. Once we have everything cut up, we can move over to the stove and let's start cooking. We're going to start off by throwing our bacon into a cold pan and then turning on the heat. This is going to allow the bacon to cook a lot more evenly and for us to get as much of the fat rendered as possible, because fat means flavor. Next, we're going to get the base for our clam chowder going. We're going to put about a couple teaspoons of oil into a pot, and once it's up to temp, we're going to be throwing in our onion and our celery. Once your bacon's nice and crispy and all the fat's rendered out, you can take it off the heat. And if you want, you can add that bacon fat to your roux. Once your onions and celeries have cooked down for a bit, then we can add the flour. Remember, it's about 3 tablespoons. Then you just want to stir that to incorporate it and let it cook down for another minute or so. Once the flour's cooked down a bit, we can start adding our liquids. So we're going to start with our 2 cups of chicken stock, our 1 cup of heavy cream, our juice that we reserved from the clams, our bay leaves, and our potatoes. Once the soup is simmering, we're going to reduce the heat down to medium-low, and we're going to let it ride for about 20 minutes.
Right?
Alright, so this thing has been cooking about 20 minutes, so now we can finally add our clams, your bacon, and our seasonings. You're then gonna let that cook for about 3 more minutes and then we should be good to plate. And there we have it, New England clam chowder. Ignore what's going on all over here, that's for something else I'm doing, and I asked if I could record it and my wife was like, fuck no. Let's give it a try. Just that nice creaminess, the clams add that nice amount of fishiness, the bacon, that saltiness, and everything else just melds so well together that I'm gonna keep eating. And if you guys like what we're doing here, like, subscribe should show up here at some point. On top of that, I have a gaming channel that should be linked down here. We also run a folklorico group called Grupo Folklorico Echale Porras. Their link should be showing up right down there somewhere. If you like what we do here, hit that like button and leave a comment down below of what we should make next. Have a good one. Done.
Are you recording that?
Hey everybody, this is Julio of Echale Porras Productions, and today we're going to be making hot dogs de Sonora. The basics of a Sonoran style hot dog would be a bun, usually a bigger bun. I use bolillos.
That's all I'm thinking about over here.
Today, how we're going to be making it is the bun, the beans, the bacon wrapped hot dog, grilled onions and peppers, guacamole, a chipotle mayo, and a avocado lime crema. Let's get started. We're going to be using a beef hot link, or a salchicha as we affectionately call it in my home. Then obviously you got some bacon. You don't want to use bacon that's too thick because it'll take too long to get crispy, and you really want that crispy bacon on there. Let's get them bacon wrapped. To cook our bacon wrapped salchichas, we'll put them in the oven for about 30 minutes. The oven's preheated to 375. We'll check them at about 20 minutes to see how their progress is, but let's get them in the oven. So our hot dogs are... So, while our hot...
It's a shot. No more drinking before recording.
Okay, fine. While our hot dogs are cooking off, we'll get the rest of the dish ready. As we did with the clam chowder and the ceviche, we're going to be dicing half of the onion. The other half we're going to be using for our grilled onions, which we're going to have little strings. This one we'll dice, again, horizontal cuts, vertical cuts, and you got a perfect dice. I'm not crying, you're crying. And this one will just cut into nice pieces and we'll cook these off. We'll also be slicing a jalapeno to go along with your onions. And then you're just gonna julienne these peppers. For some more greenery, we'll be adding some bell pepper to our jalapenos and our onions. An easy way to cut a bell pepper is to flip it upside down. Make sure you cut off the stem so it lays flat. And just cut along the side. And there you got easy cleanup. Lastly, in our pepper mixture, we're gonna be roasting a poblano. But instead of cooking these regular with the bell peppers, the jalapenos, and onions, we're gonna fire roast this. Let's show you guys how to do that. We're gonna turn on the gas, probably about a medium heat, and we're gonna lay our poblano on. We're gonna let it get a nice char. So while the poblano is roasting, let's get our bell peppers, jalapenos, and onions in this pan, and let's start sweating them down. We'll let that go for about 10 minutes and we'll check up on them. These are where we want them, so let's take them off the heat. Once your poblano is nice and blackened, we can take it off the heat. Once this thing is nice and tatemado, you're gonna take a plastic bag, get your poblano, place it inside, close it up, and you're gonna leave that poblano in there for about 5-10 minutes. You're gonna let it steam, and once it's steamed, we can scrape that blackened skin right off, and we're left with a nice roasted poblano. Let's get started on making our guacamole. As always, you get your avocado, get your knife, cut down to the seed, go around, twist, and sexy. For these, you just want to get a spoon, scoop it out. Once they're scooped out, you can start smashing them. This is totally up to your preference. If you like a smooth avocado, you can actually blend it up in the blender. I like it a bit more chunky, so we're just going to be using our fork to mash it.
That's how you love me.
For our guacamole, let's dice up some cilantro. Once that's diced up, let's put some in the guacamole, and we'll save the rest for something we're gonna be making a little later. Let's finish off the guacamole with some lemon, some lime, and a good amount of garlic salt. Our guacamole is done. Let's give it a try. Perfect. Our poblano's been steaming for a while. Let's get its skin off. So with this, you just want to take your knife and scrape the skin off. And this should be super easy. It's been about 25 minutes. Let's check on our salchichas. Look at those beauties. They're looking great so far. We'll give them another 15 minutes or so. Next, we're gonna be making the base of our chipotle mayo. First, we're gonna take a head of garlic and just split it in half. We're gonna take that and we're gonna cook that in the pan for a bit. While the garlic's going, let's get the rest of our base ready. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a lime and a lemon and you're gonna zest them into your mixture. After you have those zested, just squeeze them into the mixture. Here we have the base for our chipotle mayo, including all that we've done up to here, our garlic that we were cooking down, and of course some chipotle. We blend that all up, and you can use this for anything and everything chipotle. You need a base, you need a marinade, here you go. What we're gonna do is we're gonna reserve some, And then we're gonna add our mayo. Mix that up. Oh, that's perfect. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, let's check our salchichas. Look at those beauties. We also threw our bread in here a bit so it could get toasted up. Let's plate one. All right, let's get to assembly. First, our bun. Again, we're using a bolillo roll. You're gonna get your beans and spread them on there liberally. Next, the piece de resistance, your salchicha. Oh yeah. Let's get some onions and peppers on top of that. A nice dollop of guacamole. And now our sauces. The first one we have here is our chipotle mayo we just made. And our second, an avocado lime crema. And there you have it, our Sonoran style hot dog. Let's give it a nice cut. You ready for this? My mouth is just watering. I need to try this. Oh, that's beautiful. You get the salchicha, which is nice and hot, just so good, wrapped with the salty bacon, topped with onions, peppers, the nice creaminess of the sauces, and the nice break you get from all of it with the guacamole. Oh, I'm gonna keep eating. If you like what we're doing here, hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you press the little bell to get notifications of when our next recipe comes out. Subscribe should be popping up right here. My gaming channel Julio should pop up right here. And Grupo Folclórico Echale Porras should pop up right here. Get out of here because I'm gonna eat.